Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Mandy and I like to talk about makeup panning, nail polish, and sometimes things happening in my real life. Today I thought I'd do something a little bit different. This will be my second installment of my swatch party where I swatch eyeshadows for you so you can see some of the shades and swatches, and I thought it'd be fun and get your feedback. In honor of St. Patrick's Day, which is today when you're watching this, I am going through my collection and I pulled out all my eyeshadow palettes and singles that have green in them. So we're going to be swatching all the green eyeshadows in my collection. I tried to go for a green look. It turned a little more bluish. And some of these greens are going to be more on the teal side and some are going to be straight up green. And some palettes have one shade, some palettes have a lot of shades. So we're going to get started and go through it. I have them organized from smallest to biggest, the smallest being a single shadow, on down to my big palette of singles or depotted shades from Natasha Denona. So, with that being said, if you enjoyed this video, please give subscribe and stay tuned. Okay, so here's my desk, here are my arms, and my palettes are over here. And we're going to try and get these all situated. Okay, so the first eyeshadow I'm going to swatch is from Medusa's Makeup, and this is their single shadow. This is a baked shadow in the shade Envy. So let's give this a swatch. And since I'm ambidextrous, we'll be swatching on both hands. Go, and this one is sort of a nice green gold shadow. So that one's really lovely. Let me know in the comments if you have any of these shadows. Some of them, I'm guessing a lot of people don't have. This is a makeup eraser, also from Medusa's Makeup. It's a little bit dirty, but it is just wet, so it'll help wipe off swatches. Next we have from Espionage Cosmetics, this little duo of singles. This one, I think actually the brown has more blue in it, so we're not going to swatch that one, even though I think it has green. It's more blue. We're going to swatch this one, which it is called Go Alone, and it is very similar, if not identical, to Envy from Medusa's Makeup. It is that green gold. It's a little bit sheerer. Doesn't have quite as much impact in the base. So, but it is still a nice shade. Yeah, it is almost identical. So those two shades are pretty close to identical. So if I run out of one, then, you know, I'm not going to be sad because I still have the other one. So that's two shades we found that are identical. Go figure. Alright, next we're going to get into an actual palette instead of singles. So the first palette I have is from I Heart Revolution. This is their Heartbreakers palette in the colorway Lucky. It's a green palette, but it's not all greens. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 9 shadows are green. So we'll start, they don't have names, they just have numbers. So we're going to go ahead and start with the first one up here. This is sort of a tealy green. Alright, that definitely has a blue tint to it, but it is still in the green family. And we have this one, which is sort of green gold. It's a soft shadow. It's more of a icy, shimmery mint. Oh, these swatches are horrible. You're gonna hate me, okay? Well, let me know if you like the swatching, or not, and I won't do it again. It's really hard to get the right angle, but there you go. That is that one. It has a little bit of gold to it, but it's more of an icy green. And then we have this one down here, which is a mint. I have to say the icy and the mint have the biggest dips from this palette that I've used the most. Let's Get a little bit more in there. There we go. And there's that swatch. Try and get them up there for you to see. And play with the light. Okay, so that's those. Let me wipe my fingers. Okay, and then the middle shade here is a dark green. It's a nice shade. Nice sort of dark hunter green. This corner we have a satin yellow green. It's pretty tightly packed. I haven't used this one as much. But there we go. It's in that green gold family, but it is darker than these guys down here. Trying to get my arm in all the angles and stay on camera. But that is more of a satin versus this is the shimmeriest one in the palette, I believe. And then we have this one, which is sort of a mid-tone green. Actually, it's much darker than it looks from this angle. It's more of an emerald green. Sort of a satin finish again. It does have a shimmer to it, but it's a subtle shimmer. Sorry, camera angles are hard to get. And then we have one more in this palette, number 9. And this is also a satin. So the shimmeriest one in here is this number 4, I think it's called. And this one's a nice, really bright, true green. Just a little bit of sheen in it. So I don't know how well you can see those, but those are those. Let me get my mouse out of camera. There we go. That might help the color balance a little bit. So yeah, nice satin. And then you can see the sheen. So that's the number 4. That's this little shiny one. It's got a big dip in it. The rest of them are kind of mattes. So yeah, out of this palette, that shiny one and then the mint are the most used. But that's really lovely palette. Moving on to our next palette. This wasn't actually singles. This is from Lethal Cosmetics. And these are more on the teal side. So I have 3 here that are teal shades. And I could get a thing to tell you what they are. Let me see what I can come up with. Okay, I was able to get them out. So we'll start with the light one here. These are, like I said, all from Lethal Cosmetics. This one is called Venom, and it is a light teal shimmer. And I'll swatch these on my other arm. The formula on these is really nice. That is a beautiful swatch. And then we have this one, which is a matte, and this one is called Petrichor. And it's a nice mid-tone teal. Another beautiful formula. I love Lethal's formula. I just can't always see spending the prices. And then this one is a dark teal, and this is called Aether. Oh, so pretty. So those are more on the teal side of green. But I would still say they're green enough to be considered green. Let me know what you think. Are teals greens or are they blues? Or are they just teals? And I should do a separate video on teals. But there are those 3. And I'll pop those back into my palette. Like so. Okay, and then we'll move on. The next palette is from BH Cosmetics, the Sapphire for September. This one has 2 greens in it. Sorry, I'm trying not to blind you with the mirror. The first one is, they're both mattes. The first one is Confidence, and it is a nice true green or Kelly green. It's really pretty. And then the other one is Organized AF, and this is a really deep hunter forest green. Got a little bit of teal in it, but very, very dark color. So those are the two from there. And then we have Cool, which has a little bit of green in it. It is on that teal side, but it is more blue than green, so we're not going to swatch it for this video. But yeah, those are pretty two mattes from the Sapphire for September. Next, another one that is very heavy in the greens. This is from I Heart Revolution again, and this one is called Mermaid's Heart. And this one is more of the, I guess it's not that green heavy as I thought it was, because there's only 4 greens in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah, and 3 of them are teal leaning and 1 true green. So the true green is this one here. They do not have names. No. Get a better swatch. These are tightly packed, tightly pressed. So this is sort of a nice shimmery satin, kind of a leaning toward olive emerald green. It's really pretty. My most used is this one here, which is another one of those, a satin shimmer in the light teal aqua family. Very similar to this first one from Aether, just not, the one from Aether has more of a shine to it. This one's more satin. And then along the same lines we have this one over here, which is a little more blue, but it's still that teal, so it still has green in it, but it is a slightly different, a slightly darker shade, and that's more of that satin shimmer. And then lastly we have matte, and this is a matte teal. Which definitely leans more blue compared to these guys down here. So maybe those might be getting a little too blue. Let me know what you think. Alright, I'm gonna take a minute and wipe those off, and we'll move on to the next palette. Alright, the next palette is from Aether Beauty, and this is the Moonlight Crystal palette, and we have 1 true green and 1 teal green, and then this one's a duochrome, but it's more on the blue side. And this one, the teal green, I'm thinking maybe too blue, but we'll give it a try. So we've got the true green, and that is sort of a satin shimmer. Kind of a tightly packed formula, almost creamy feeling. Trying to find the right angle. There you go. So we got that, and then the teal. That's a nice soft shadow. Again, more on the blue side, so it's questionable. If you pair it with the green, I think it works. It has enough green in it to pull green, but it also has enough blue in it to pull blue. So we'll see. It's an in-between. Alright, the next palette is the Lost in Los Angeles from BH Cosmetics. And in this palette we have 1 mint green and 1 that's actually blue. So just 1 mint green. I was like, there's 2, but there's only 1. There's 1 mint green in here, and that is Dreamer. This is a nice soft formula, very pigmented. And there is Dreamer from the Lost in Los Angeles. I was going to say LAX is a teal, but no, it's actually light blue. It's only 1 in that palette. The next palette is also from BH Cosmetics and their Destinations. This is Trendy in Tokyo. And in this one, we have 2 greens. We have, in this version, we have Imperial Palace and Rainbow Bridge. Imperial Palace is a matte true green. It is a bit on the powdery side, but that is a nice pigmented true green. And then Rainbow Bridge is more of a lime green. very on the yellow side. And that one is a satin shimmer. And from here, it looks like the camera showing it is almost as yellow, but if you look at it compared to the two yellows here, it's definitely got green in it, but it leans very yellow. So those are the two greens in the Trendy in Tokyo palette. I think that Imperial Palace is a nice green. Alright, and my next palette is from Ace Beauté. This is the Violet Sage. A lot of my palettes don't lean heavily green, but a few of them do. This one has two greens in it. We have Sage, which is a lovely light sage green. And they are both mattes. Build that up so you can see it on my skin tone. And then we have Juniper, which is a more of a forest green, sort of a dark olive. So there are those two. You can barely see Juniper on my skin tone, but it is there. Trust me. It is there. But they are nice formulas, nice and smooth and pigmented. So yeah, that is the Ace Beauté. Alright, next we have a palette that is heavily in green. This is from Revolution Makeup, and this is the Chilled palette. And when I say heavy green, it's like I look at it and it's actually only got 6 green shadows in it, plus a green glitter. So, you know, over half the palette is not green, but it still, it seems to lean green. When I look at this palette, I think green. But really, there's more browns and golds than there are greens. So let's go ahead and we'll start at this end and swatch our way over. So this first one is Natural, and it's sort of a shimmer. It's one of those mattes with a shimmer in it. That's nice, like true green. Okay, and then moving over, the next one here is called Leaf, and this is a matte, an actual matte, and this is sort of the light green. Okay, and it is a pretty tightly packed shadow, but it is a nice lighter green. But it is a nice matte. And we have down here, we have a shimmer, and this one is a dark green called Mist. It's got kind of a brown base to it, it looks like. Might have a little bit of hard pan, but that's okay. So we have a bit of a brown base, but then a green, forest green shimmer, and that is the shade Mist, M-I-S-T. Okay. And then the last two, we have this one, Plant, which is in my current pan, those eyeshadows, and it is a nice dark green matte. And then below that we have Candyland, which is a medium green shimmer. Which has been repressed, but it's still looking pretty good. So there are the greens in the Chilled palette from Revolution. Okay, now we're getting into the larger palettes. The Revolution was larger, but these ones have only a couple shades. So this one is the Marvicorn from Marvin Magnificent and BH Cosmetics. And I'm not going to show you this one, but we have one that's the Teal, and this is Moana. I guess I'll do this arm because that's the one I swatched it with. And I'm wearing this on my look today, but it did turn out a little more blue. It is one of those teals that it leans more on the blue side, but it does have a little more green in case I compare it with greens. That is the only green in this palette, is that lovely teal. Next we have from BH Cosmetics, we have the Galaxy Chic, and in this palette we have one, two, I guess that one's, is that? No, it's blue. Okay, so we have two greens. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes. First we have Meteor, which is a very light minty green with a lovely shimmer in it. And then we have Comet, which is also a light green, but less shimmer and more metallic. So Meteor definitely has, I can see some shimmer in it, and then Comet, the second one, is just more of a nice metallic shimmer. All of these shades are really pretty and shimmery. But the rest, that's the only green ones. And they're borderline green. They're mint. Okay, we have just a few more left. This is the Pink Star palette. And in here we have, if I can get it open, the magnet's so strong. There we go. We have one true green and looks like one teal. So the true green shade is called Sour. And that is a yellowy green. And then the teal-y shade, the blue-green, bordering on mint, that one is called Cute. So Cute, yeah, I was like, it might be just a blue, but no, it's got green in it. So there are those, Sour and Cute. Alright, and last but not least are the depotted shades from Natasha Denona. We're going to swatch on my other hand to give my fingers a break. So we have 4 shades in here that are considered green. In my mattes, these are all in the small shades. We have this matte mint, which is so light it doesn't really show up on my skin tone, but maybe you can see it there. Yeah, you can see it a little bit. That is a light mint, and then we have a dark teal hunter green. Very nice. Those have nice, smooth, creamy formulas. And then over here we have a couple more on the bluer side, the tealier side. We have this lovely shimmer. And then, I mean, they're both shimmers because that's what this section is. And this one is a darker shade. Again, more of that teal. Looks like it has maybe a brown base. And that one actually, that's another one that might be closer to blue than green. But if you paired it with green, I'm sure it looks green. So, yeah, and that's it. Okay, so that is a look at all the green eyeshadows in my collection. Let me know if this inspired you, if you like the swatches, or if you think my setup for swatching sucks, or, you know, both or neither of the above. Just any feedback is appreciated, and if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. It doesn't hurt my feelings. It just tells me that you didn't like it. And, you know, either way, it helps YouTube. So, yeah. And if you have any suggestions for what you'd like to see me swatch next month, either it's a color or a brand or a particular palette, let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, take care of yourselves. Remember to stay true to you. And I love you no matter who or what you are. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!